I bet the day you watch this will be the day I will have an awful day. So just think about the trade-offs of life, you know? Just the fabric of the life around you. So, I just want to say that today was a great day. Am I still sick? Yes. That's awful, and it sucks. But today started off great. We had a delay, and you know how, like, the day before, like, snow days and delays, the whole, you know, like, all your classmates are like, oh my god, we might have a delay, we might have a snow day, like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that didn't happen. It was a complete surprise. Like, no one expected it, and it was great. And so I got an extra 2 hours of sleep, which means I had, like, 9 hours of sleep, which was amazing for a school night. Like, I never get that much sleep. And, I was freaking happy. I literally woke up and I was scared because it was like 10 minutes before we were supposed to get to the bus. And I wake up that late, but Alina doesn't. And I'm like, why isn't Alina up? And I'm like, Alina! And she's like, it's a delay! And then she yelled at me and she went back to sleep. So, whatever. And then after that, like, I don't know, but like, freaking, I was so hyped. Like, I don't know if it was just asleep or like what. But like, I was so hyped that whole day. I went into English and we were reading Animal Farm, which, for those who don't know, it's probably an awful book, as I've heard, about allegory. Isn't that like one of the literary it's not important, don't worry about it. This isn't an English class here, but it's like about animals and they talk and it represents something else. We haven't really gone into it. But we were reading children's books as an exercise to look for political messages in it. And we got this book called, like, My Grandfather or something. It's about this guy who goes from Japan to the United States. He lands in New York, obviously, and he goes to California and he talks about how good California is. Like, yeah, everyone knows California's good. Of course, I have to brag about it in, like, every book. But, yeah, and he's like, we met all different types of people. Black people, white people, yellow people, red people. Mr. Blank was like, are there any political messages in your book? And I raised my hand. I'm like, yeah, there were political messages. They mentioned red people and yellow people, and the whole class started laughing. And I was going to continue, and then he interrupted me, and he's like, well, what was your book called? And I'm like, bro, you interrupted my speech, and it was so annoying. And then I'm like, it's called this. And he interrupted it a second time over I don't know what, but I was mad. And then everyone, like, stopped laughing at what I was saying because he interrupted my flow. So, yeah. But actually, it wasn't, like, the whole class. It was, like, half of the class. One half of the class is, like, you know, the nerdy kids, which are all my friends, obviously. And the other half is, like, oh, the popular, like, not the cheerleaders, obviously, because cheerleaders suck. No offense. But, like, you know, the sporty, like, I'm so pretty, I'm so, like, better and perfect than everyone else. I'm too cool to laugh at your jokes unless it's by my dumb friend and it's not even funny. You know, those type of kids. Yeah. So they were just, you know, chilling, like, I don't know, on Instagram or, like, snacking on their carrots or whatever the fuck they do. And I was on my side, and all my friends are laughing, and it was so funny. And you know that amazing cool watch I have that, you know, is, you know, super classy and stuff. So the only compliment I've ever gotten from the watch is guys, and I think, like, from boys, you know what I mean? And you know how usually girls are the ones that compliment you? Well, it's apparently when it comes to watches, it's the opposite. Only guys compliment you, which is insane. It's like a complete switch. It takes a while to get used to. Anyway, this guy that sat next to me, he was like, oh my god, I like your watch. It's like, looks really cool. And I'm like, thanks. And then his friend, who sits right behind him, he's like, oh wait, let me see. And then he looked at it and he's like, yeah, damn, that's a cool watch. And I'm like, ah. And so I was like, wow. That's like the 5th person that's complimented my watch. So everyone was like, oh, why would you spend that much money on a watch? Well, look who's laughing now. I went to lunch. The only lunch I ever like is Bosco cheese sticks. I've missed Bosco cheese sticks for 3 weeks in a row because they only sell them on Thursdays. And I actually made it. I got my freaking Bosco cheese sticks, so that was a good thing. And then after that, we had French, and we had a sub, and I don't like my French teacher very much. If I ever get famous and you see this, I'm sorry. You're really nice, but just didn't enjoy French. Anyway, so we had a sub, and he was so, oh my god, he was so annoying. Literally, this guy was talking for like 5 seconds, and he was like, "Why are you talking? Like, it's so disrespectful when you're talking, and like the teacher's talking, blah blah blah." And he was whispering, and he was like, it was so dumb. And the guy was like, "No, I'm talking to myself." And that guy's like a weirdo, so like I believe him. And he was like, "Oh well," the teacher was like, "Oh well, I don't know what to say if you're talking to yourself." And then I just stopped, and then the girl next to me was like pushing on my coat with her foot by accident, and to joke around, I was like, "Bro, why are you like why are you touching my coat with your foot? Like, what the hell?" And then she's like, and I said that for like 5 seconds, right? And the guy looks at me and he's like, "Hey, you didn't hear what I just said to the other guy? Like, do you know how disrespectful it is that when I'm talking, that you're talking? I would never do that to you." And I'm like, "Bro," I whispered, and it was for like 5 seconds. It was so annoying. Oh my god, I hate teachers like that. He was so uptight. And I wanted to be a smartass. I was this close to saying, "Oh, would you believe me if I said I was talking to myself too?" I'm like, "No, I'm gonna get like freaking in trouble, so we're not gonna do that." So I stopped myself, but I really, really wanted to say it. But yeah, this girl that hates me, I think is starting to like me again, because she's like, I said a joke and she kind of smiled. And usually she just glares at me, so like we were making some progress, you know? And then after that, I saw this. Do you ever have those people that you're like, know they're not really attractive? For some reason you're like attracted to them? Yeah, there's this kid, right, that's like super awkward. So I don't really like awkward people, and I like athletes. Well, he does track, but you know, track is annoying. I don't like trackies, but whatever. And so I'm usually attracted to guys that are like fairly outgoing and like sporty and, you know, stuff like that, and like actually cute. But for some reason I'm kind of attracted to him. I don't know why. And so I'm like, "Oh my god, he's here," because sometimes he stays after, but he gets picked up. And then Juliet was like, "Wait, I got you." And then she like kind of jogs around like 50 people, and she goes to him and she's like, "Hey buddy, I haven't seen you in a while." She's only talked to this kid once at the beginning of the year. And she's like, "Hey, I haven't seen you in a while, like, how are you? We need to catch up." And I'm like, "Dude, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "I hate you," in my head. And then we kind of talked. It was kind of weird, because he like responded in one word, like responses for a while. And then we started talking about valedictorians, and he started responding in like, you know, actually like he was interested. And then she left, and then I'm like, great, this is gonna get awkward, because it was just me and this other friend that was like pretty like antisocial, and him who's antisocial. So I'm like, wow, you've only talked to her like twice, and you're her best friend. And he's like, and I expected him to ignore me, but he was like, "Yeah, you know that thing about like social people finding like, or the introverts finding that the extroverts like talking to the introverts and like something." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then we're on the same bus, so the bus gets called, and I sit across from him, and I ask him about chemistry. And then from chemistry we started talking about like superheroes, and I said my favorite superhero is Spider-Man. And then he was like, "Yeah, mine is too." And we started talking about video games, and then we started talking about movies, and then we got to music. And then it was like weird, and he pulled out his phone, and I thought, oh, he's done like talking to me. So I pulled out my phone. He's like, "Oh, sorry, I had to text my parents." And he put his phone back. I'm like, "Ah!" And then I kept talking to him, and I was like so happy. I literally got off the bus, and I was like skipping off the bus. Okay, another. Oh my god, my face looks so scary. Like, I could be the clown, like on this freaking horror movie shit. Anyway, so quick thing. when I was staying after, I saw Alina, and she was in the room with her, like, crush. And so I walked in, right? And I was like, hey, and I was like, I called him, like, I said his name, I'm like, hey, and then he didn't know me at all, we've never met before, and he was like, hey, and then I went to Alina, and I, like, ruffled her hair, like, I'm like, you know, that, and then I'm like, bye to him, and I said his name, obviously I'm not gonna say it, and then I, like, did, like, my weird hand thing where I, like, do the heart, and then I winked at him, and then I just left, and then Alina stormed in, Dylan, what's wrong with you? And I thought it was because I didn't ride in the car with her and Mom. And I'm like, bro, what's wrong with you? And I started to get mad. And then she's like, why did you do that? He asked me how she knew my name and, like, all that. And I'm like, dude, this is not a big deal. And she was mad at me for the whole day, and she was trash talking me in the kitchen, which I could hear, by the way. But, you know, who the fuck cares? Who the fuck? There's no secrets in this house. Like, you can hear everything from everywhere. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, but I didn't care. Because, like, I was in such a good mood that I was like, fuck you. You can't bring down my mood. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. You can't be mad. She's mad over, like, the smallest thing. It's so dumb. She can make up any random story. Like, oh, she saw you in the hallway one day and she asked who you were, and that's how she knows, you know? It's not hard. Like, what? And so she's like, yeah, you, like, embarrassed me and you ruined my chances of my love life and, like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, she was so mad at me, like, the whole day. And that's just that story. That's a quick little rant. I was kind of annoyed, but I'm having too good of a day for anyone to bring me down right now, so fuck that. I'm not, like, letting anyone mess me up. So I was just trying to be friendly, you know? She's acting like I'm trying to steal her man over here, right? All I'm doing is trying to be friendly. You know, if this is my future brother-in-law, then you know what, I wanna get off, like, you know, I wanna have a good impression. It's not my fault. So anyway, that's it. It was just a great day. You know, I got yelled at by a teacher, made people laugh, listened to music, worked out. I read a lot. I read like 30 pages. Well, that isn't really a lot, but a lot for me. I recorded a video. You know, today has been literally so great. We had a delay. And this has been 17 minutes. I'm probably gonna, I don't know what I'm gonna cut out of this video, but I'm gonna cut something out of this video. But, I have to go to sleep because it's like probably almost 1. So, good night. Hope you had a great day today. If you didn't, I bet the day you watch this will be the day I will have an awful day. So just think about the trade-offs of life, you know? Just the fabric of the life around you. I don't know if that made sense, but